Hey everybody, welcome to MovieDive, where we dive into some shit, usually. But today is just me, Huffman, also known as Mike. Yeah, just me today. C's out, but we did go to see Power Rangers a couple of days ago, and yeah, I just wanted to put some thoughts down about it. So Sarah was not able to feel strongly enough to put anything down. And I can sort of see her point. When you go to see a movie like Power Rangers, a lot of times, you expect a blur. Like, I'm expecting Transformers, right? Where it's just like an overlong, just visual and a narrative mess. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure who anyone is. Like, the robots fight sometimes, and that looks kind of cool, but they're, so busy and clusterfucky that it just I don't know. I can't think of a single memorable moment from the two Transformers movies that I saw, even though I sat through all of them. I remember Shia LaBeouf being annoying. I remember a lot of metal moving around, right? But so that's kind of what I was expecting going into Power Rangers, and I was pleasantly surprised to see what I saw. The thing is, Power Rangers is actually surprisingly a solid movie. Okay, it follows a very typical story progression. You're not gonna get any surprises. It's established in a very straightforward way that these kids don't quite fit in with everyone else in their small working class town, but they all have a slightly different issue that the movie just sort of cycles us through. It doesn't linger too long on these kids' problems, and it just sort of introduces us to them, and just to show hey, here's a group of kids, they all got issues, but something just absolutely crazy happens to them that brings them all together, and they sort of have to try to figure that out. And so the movie spends actually more time on these kids training and connecting together, but it's never boring. It seems that kind of development would be just kind of there aren't a whole lot of explosions happening, but the way that it's presented, and it's just always engaging. They're always trying to do some kind of thing visually with the way that with the cinematography that they use. And with the way that they edit. Right at the beginning of the movie, they use this kind of this 360 shot that they just repeat 4 times. Right, so it repeats that kind of shot in a span of 4 minutes, and it never really means anything. Kind of experimenting with their camera movements and cinematography as they're going through the movie, they end up having pretty effective shots happen. What am I trying to say here? It gives you just enough time with every character, and it gives you just enough time to see them grow together and encounter these small micro challenges that they overcome, that you end up relating to every one of them, but still the movie never goes too deep into their stories to ignore the greater narrative, which is that these guys must come together to become the Power Rangers and destroy Rita's ridiculous plan. Speaking of Rita, Elizabeth Banks did a pretty good job in that kind of campy evilness role that she's given. She seemed to have enjoyed herself doing it. I can't say anything. I mean, it's pretty close to the original, I think. There's a darker component to her. You kind of see her cannibalize somebody. So even though she's super campy and super stupid, she's always dangerous enough where you kind of take her threats seriously. So in the end, it culminates in a great giant CG battle, but I have to note, as a martial arts fan, I have to appreciate the way that they did action in this movie. Usually, again, with Transformers and Ninja Turtles, it's just all these CG shits running around, and the camera is always, there's never a shot that lasts longer than half a second. In this one, we get a bunch of really wide panning, like sweeping shots where you really get to like see the action. And the choreography in this movie is pretty believable. Again, granted, it's CG, you know, but it looks good, it has impact, and they don't protract like all these fight encounters. It's just like one or two hits and like it's good. Like even their final boss at the end that they fight with their Megazord is just very, it's like one strong like hit and it does the job, and then, you know, they don't spend like half an hour of the movie like really dramatic like save, I will save you, you know, like none of that shit. Fuck it. Like, it's just out. Like, so the movie just kind of goes through, and it's, you're always there and you're always present, and even at its corniest, it's just good enough fan service. This is the blueprint. Like, I think how to do this kind of like fan servicey superhero movie. So usually movies like this, they try to get into some kind of deeper political or cultural message that they're trying to like impart on you, but they're always trying to get into some kind of like critique, like especially with Marvel and like with their, you know, their thoughts on superhero discrimination, you know, like it just comes across as clumsy and underdeveloped. And so I kind of wish that movies like this that are just really made, you know, to be about superhero fighting, that maybe they wouldn't do it as often, because most of the time they just come out like underbaked, just failures really, and they end up just distracting from what have otherwise would have been just like a fun fan servicey movie. And so that's kind of like what Power Rangers does. Like, it's small enough where every story is just kind of close and intimate, and it doesn't try to be something that it isn't. So yeah, that's my thoughts about it. Honestly, I would say that I'd even recommend seeing it. Like, if you got a spare afternoon, like, yeah, this is a great, I'm telling you, this is better than a movie like this should be. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Not quite a movie dive today, more like a movie drop, movie swim, movie dip, movie dodge. Actually, I like movie dip. We'll stick with dip.